Hey yo, this is Koi. Today I have the Aful Polar Knight. This is a loan from Jadis, so big thanks and shout out to him for sending it over. Now, this is a dynamic driver flathead that you can get for about $180. If you know anything about Aful, they usually make IEMs and some pretty good ones to say the least. This time they have come out with a flathead earbud, and let's see if it is as good as some of their other stuff. Since this is a loan, I did not get the box, but here is all that comes inside the box. You get a case, cable, 3 pairs of black donut foam, 2 pairs of red donut foam, and 2 pairs of blue donut foam, and a clip, some replacement foams for the tube, and of course the flathead itself. The case is decently big and spacious for everything that comes with it, but I wouldn't say it is pocketable if you want to take it on the go. The Polar Knight has this blue and red resin shell design on the back that kind of look like stained glasses you see in churches. It's kind of trying to be like IEMs with the faceplate, but as a flathead, which I kind of like. Unfortunately, due to this outer shell design, a lot of the weight is on that part, making it kind of lean outward for me, and will kind of slowly fall out over time or if I make any big head movements. Luckily, there's a solution to this. You can get some wingtips to stop it from falling out, making it a lot better to use. They should look something like this. The cable on the Polar Knight uses MMCX and comes in 3.5 and 4.4mm termination. The cable itself is a bit stiff and has a bit of memory, but I find it good enough to use with no problems. First, let's take a look at the frequency response of the Polar Knight. As I have said before, flathead measurements are not the most accurate, so please take my graphs with a grain of salt, and do not compare them to anyone else's, as we all have different ways of measuring stuff. If you take a look at the no foam graph, it is not something that I recommend using. Without foam, the Polar Knight becomes very bright and shouty for it to be enjoyable. Similarly, with the full foams on the Polar Knight, it becomes very warm, which is probably why Aful didn't include full foams as an accessory and opted for the donut foams. Now, how does the Polar Knight sound with donut foam? It has a balanced sound that is a bit on the warmer side, while having excellent mids and treble. Starting with the bass, the Polar Knight is not extremely bassy, but is a bit warm. As the graphs show, there is a bit of sub-bass roll-off, but has excellent sub-bass extension by flathead standards. This roll-off is not very noticeable unless you compare it to something like an IEM. Even then, it can still easily play every bassy song that I throw at it well. The Polar Knight being a bit warm helps if you want to wear it outside, as you can still hear the bass prominently despite all the sound outside. It also has really good bass texture, typical of a high quality dynamic driver. The mids on the Polar Knight feels separated from the bass, most likely due to this dip around the 1.5K. Despite it sounding quite warm, it never felt like the bass bleeds into the mid. Vocals feel very forward with his sudden ear gain. This forward characteristics make female vocal really nice to listen to and stand out in contrast to the bass. Male vocals are also great with the added warmth. My only complaint would be that female vocals can sound a little shouty for some songs. The treble on the Polar Knight are on the relaxed side. It feels a bit rolled off for the upper octaves, lacking the last bit of extension. However, it sounds extremely smooth and is pleasant to listen to. For comparisons, one of the Flathead that I recently reviewed is the Flathead Audio FH01, which has a warm balanced sound with really good bass extension for the price. The Polar Night is a bit similar, but it is a bit warmer, whereas the FH01 feels more balanced. The bass has some similarities where both has excellent extension. The FH01 has a bit more mid-bass emphasis, making the sub-bass raw feel more noticeable to me. The mid on the Polar Night is more forward, and the treble is smoother on the Polar Night. Another one to look at is the Xduoo Alpha 3. The two are a bit similar, with the Alpha 3 having a more significant sub-bass roll-off. Between the two, the Alpha 3 feels more balanced and less warm due to the sub-bass roll-off. The Polar Night has a more forward vocal presentation, and the Alpha 3 has a brighter treble presentation. Unfortunately, I have not tried any of the more expensive Flathead in the price range of the Polar Night, but if you have tried something like the FH01 or the Alpha 3 and want a slightly warmer sound with better mids and treble, the Polar Night may be a great upgrade for it. Overall, there's a lot to like about the Polar Night. It has a beautiful design and excellent tuning, however, the fit on it may not be for everyone. If you want to get the Polar Night, I absolutely recommend getting some wingtips to help improve the fit and comfort. If you can get the fit to work, the Polar Night is something that I highly recommend trying if you enjoy a warm balanced sound signature. Therefore, the Polar Night gets a 2-star recommendation from me. This has been Koi. Thank you for watching and see you next time.